Welcome to this presentation entitled Homes for the Aged Resident Rights. The purpose of this presentation is to make the public aware of the general rights each home for the aged resident has and must be afforded, as well as steps to take if you feel a resident's rights have been violated. Homes for the Aged, or HFAs, are licensed homes that provide room and board, protection, supervision, assistance, and supervised personal care to residents aged 55 years or older. Some HFAs use the marketing term assisted living. Assisted living is a generic term that can refer to a variety of living situations that provide level of care services. Some of these are licensed and some are not. This presentation only applies to licensed home for the aged settings. Licensed homes for the aged are inspected by the State of Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, or LARA. To determine whether a setting is licensed, refer to the LARA website, which will be included in the resource document posted below this video. Residents living in homes for the aged have numerous rights. Homes for the aged are required to provide a copy of the rights upon admission of a resident. Homes for the aged are governed by the Public Health Code, which includes resident rights. These rules are there to protect residents from abuse, neglect, and exploitation, as well as help improve the quality of life for each person living in an HFA. Every resident has the right to be treated with dignity and respect. Knowing resident rights helps prevent abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and empowers residents and their legal guardians to advocate for themselves. Please note that the rights of residents may be limited if they have a court-appointed guardian. Residents have the right to be free from mental and physical abuse and from physical and chemical restraints. Homes for the aged must not discriminate or deny appropriate care based on race, religion, color, national origin, sex, age, handicap, marital status, sexual preference, or source of payment. Residents have the right to inspect or receive for a reasonable fee a copy of his or her medical records upon request, to confidential treatment of personal and medical records, and with exceptions may release their records to another person or agency. Residents have the right to receive information concerning his or her continuing health needs and alternatives for meeting those needs, to participate in the planning of his or her medical treatment, and to refuse treatment to the extent provided by law, and to be informed of the consequences of that refusal. Residents have the right to receive adequate and appropriate care and pain and symptom management. Residents have the right to know who is responsible for and who is providing his or her direct care. Residents have a right to privacy to the extent feasible in treatment and in caring for personal needs with consideration, respect, and full recognition of his or her dignity and individuality, to associate and communicate privately and consult with his or her medical provider, attorney, or anyone else they choose, to send and receive personal mail unopened on the same day it is received at the HFA, and to meet privately with his or her spouse in a room that ensures privacy. If both spouses are residents in the same HFA, they are entitled to share a room unless medically harmful. Residents have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. This includes recognizing each resident's individuality, being listened to, being spoken to respectfully, and acknowledging this is the resident's home. Residents have the right to receive information about his or her medical condition, proposed course of treatment, and prospects for recovery in terms the resident can understand. They have the right to information about the HFA rules and regulations affecting resident care and conduct. Residents have the right to be fully informed before or at the time of admission and during stay of services available and related charges. Residents have the right to be free from physical or chemical restraints, including certain medications, except for a specified and limited time, or as necessitated by an emergency, to protect the resident from injury to self or others. Residents have the right to make independent choices, also called self-determination. Residents may meet with and participate in the social activities, religious, and community groups at his or her discretion unless medically harmful. Residents also maintain their fundamental right to vote. Residents have the right to retain and use personal clothing and possessions as space permits. Each resident shall be provided with reasonable space. Residents are entitled to manage their own financial affairs. They are entitled to receive a monthly itemized statement from the HFA and may request information relating to financial assistance. Residents have the right to be involved in his or her discharge planning and are entitled to be given reasonable advance notice to ensure orderly transfer or discharge. The licensing rules state there must be a 30-day written notice unless emergency discharge is warranted. Residents may be transferred or discharged for the following reasons: medical, his or her welfare or that of other residents, or for non-payment of his or her stay. Residents are entitled to exercise their rights and express concerns or complaints about their care. Residents are entitled to information about the HFA's policies and procedures regarding complaints. Homes for the Aged are responsible to ensure residents' health, safety, and well-being in accordance with residents' service plans. This includes protection from physical harm, humiliation, and intimidation, as well as social, moral, financial, and personal exploitation. If you feel the Home for the Aged is failing to ensure your health, safety, or well-being, you may report any concerns to the Home for the Aged facility staff, Adult Protective Services, the Michigan Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, Michigan's Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, and/or the Attorney General's Office. If a resident believes that one or more of the rights we've discussed have been violated, report issues directly to the Home for the Aged staff. Detail the problems and how you would like to see them resolved. Concerns and complaints may be directed to Adult Protective Services, or APS. Report abuse, neglect, and exploitation of vulnerable adults by calling 855-444-3911. You may also express concerns about your rights, care, or services in an HFA to the Michigan Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. To reach a local ombudsman, call 866-485-9393. Long-term care ombudsmen are advocates for residents. They assist with complaints and resolve problems, advocate for resident rights, dignity, and respect, provide free and confidential services for residents, promote quality care and quality of life, and provide information on how to find a long-term care home. You may also file a complaint with Michigan Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, or LARA. LARA's Bureau of Community and Health Systems accepts complaints of allegations of licensing rule and law violations in licensed facilities. Call 866-856-0126. The more factual, focused, and detailed the information you give about the incident or issue, the more likely the state will be able to verify your concern. If residents or family members have concern, they may also contact the Michigan Attorney General's Healthcare Fraud Division. Report financial or physical abuse or neglect of residents in a home for the aged by calling 800-242-2837. Improving the quality of life for residents in homes for the aged can be enhanced by knowing resident rights and how to report concerns. Don't hesitate to ask questions or call for more information at any of the agencies mentioned in this presentation. Thank you for participating in this presentation on Homes for the Aged resident rights. For more information about the rights we covered today, including links to further resources, you may access the resource document posted below this video.